Walking and Talking Show, episode 27. Francisco Carreño Galvez, the eclectic guy with you. So I'm going to talk about a topic that is very, 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 very tiny. Have you ever heard about trace elements? In nutrition, they talk about nutrients, micronutrients like vitamins, minerals, but then they talk about those micronutrients that are even micro. They are trace elements, right? Cadmium, molybdenum, and all those names. The concept is that the body does actually respond to those elements in a positive way when you provide them in the right amount, right? Which is very, very, very little. So you don't need a lot of cadmium to provide the requirement for the body, so XYZ enzymatic pathways or whatever biochemical process will work properly. So with the concept of trace element, I was reading a little bit about trans fat that we talked in previous episode, and it's funny how a lot of food companies, they label their product and they say zero trans fat or trans fat free or something like that, like no trans fat. And it's funny to know that because in the processing of those food that normally use vegetable oils, and they processing so much that the vegetable oil become rancid, all these things, and some fat, trans fat show up in the composition of the food item that is being processed, when it's so little that they say that it's trace amounts of trans fat, right? And by law, when you're processing make trans fat to show up in trace amounts, you don't have to label it. I'm going to repeat you. In the processing of all these fats, trans fat arises, show up, turn, because you modify the vegetable oil to a point that trans fat appears, but because it's in trace amounts, you don't have to label it. And now my question is, if we said that there are certain elements in nature that to create a reaction in the body, you just need to take them in traced amounts, hence trace elements, who is telling you that traced amounts of trans fat don't affect you? I'm going to tell you the answer. Nobody, because they do affect you. Even when you see a label, no trans fat, if it's a type of food that you know as a fact that in the processing of that food, trans fat are going to show up, don't eat it. Don't lie to yourself, say, no, if the label said that it has no trans fat. It does, in trace amounts, and they're not labeled because the law allow those food companies to exclude them from the label. So just think about it, the concept of trace element, how it works for the good. We say that we need trace element for health, but then the food industry want to minimize the importance of trace amount of trans fat. So committed to your health, the eclectic guy, everything that I come with that I believe that is important, I will bring it to the show. Which, by the way, I received some comments like I don't go too deep sometimes. I mean, the whole purpose of this is walking and talking, right? It's not lecturing in a classroom. I will have some times that I will bring the show a little bit more in depth for certain topics, but I like to keep it fresh. What are your thoughts about it? I hope to see your comments. Bye.